Okay, so one last pattern, and then we'll move on to how to make a contact sheet. While those patterns are fun at all and completely acceptable for this assignment, as long as you put in a little more work, those first few that I did, not super great. You want to put in more detail. You want to make it a little more interesting artistically. You want to push it a little bit further. While you could do those, the real reason that I'm doing this assignment is that quite often when people need to have something repeated as a pattern, they need to actually have something specific repeated as a pattern. So something that I had to do quite a bit was make gravels, grounds, dirt, those sorts of textures. So let's see if I've still got those chops. We're going to just make a gravel here. All right, so here's an image, copyright-free image of some gravel. It's got some leaves. But we're going to go ahead and, well, we're going to level this thing because this doesn't look super great. Just do a quick adjustment. Holding down the Alt key lets me see where it's clipping. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so we're going to just make a gravel texture, gravel background type thing. So if you had like a tower defense game or something, and you wanted to have different kinds of dirts and roads, this would be one way you could do it. So let me save this image as gravel, and we're going to take a sampling of this image. So first things first, let's go ahead and Control-Shift-E. We get this flattened layer of it. I'm going to right click on it and tell it to duplicate layer, and I'm going to do it to a new document here, and I'm going to call this gravel pattern. And it was just right click to duplicate layer. So now we have the gravel pattern as well as the gravel itself. And we're going to do a couple of fun things here. Right click and convert to smart object so that I don't do any damage to it. Take the crop, I'm going to switch it from unconstrained to size and resolution. I'm going to set it to a 2" by 2" by 300 pixels per inch. And now we can see exactly how big that would be. So if possible, I'd love to avoid these leaves, but it looks like we're going to have to edit those out. Bam. All right, so because this was a smart object, you can see that it still has the data. The other thing would be if you're cropping it and you don't have a smart object and you want to save it, you'd uncheck the delete cropped pixels. You'd make sure that that's not there, and then it would just delete the data surrounding it. All right, but because again, smart object, even though I said delete some cropped pixels, it didn't actually delete the cropped pixels. All right, all that said, Control-Shift-E will duplicate, hey, hello. Control-Alt-Shift-E, do nothing for some reason. I thought I had this selected. Oh, because I'm hitting the FN key, the function key on my laptop, which won't do anything. So instead, I'm just gonna hold down the Alt key. Oh, no. My bad. It can't do it because there's only the one layer, so I'm just going to duplicate it. Gosh, guys, blinked out there. So for Control-Alt-Shift-E, which again is the same thing as holding down Alt and choosing Merge Visible, there was nothing to merge with. It's just the one layer, so I'm just going to duplicate that. Right-click on it. Now remember, funny thing about smart objects, and get rid of this, you have two different ways of duplicating it. You could just drag it down, but it will just make a new instance of the same smart object. What you normally want to do is new smart object via copy so that you don't accidentally edit all of them. You just edit one at a time. What I'm going to do though is just duplicate it and then right click on it and then rasterize it. That's fine too in this case. You notice that now this is cropped down perfectly. The other thing you could do, just to confuse you and add 8 more things, you could do Control-A, Control-C, Control-V, which is actually really good in this case because we'll make sure to crop it down to exactly the size. So maybe that's the way to go in this one. All right, so now would be a good time to bring in some blending tools. I'm going to come in. Let's see how these will work out. I'll come in with the patch tool. And I'm just going to go over this leaf because I don't really want these leaves showing up everywhere, and I missed. Shift key to add to the patch tool selection. All right, and then just drag. Look at that. Immediately, we've got some gravel. Cool. So I move my layers out of the way so I can see. Here's another leaf. Sure, get all that. Just drag. Bam. Another leaf. Just getting rid of these so that we don't have something that shows up everywhere. That looks terrible. Go ahead and get a bigger chunk. That looks better. There are little bits and pieces you'd want to come in here with like the stamp tool and do adjustments to so that it looks cleaner. One of the nice things about this gravel image though is there are already dark points that exist. However, we're going to get a seam. We've got to take care of that. I know we're going to get a seam because this wasn't a perfect pattern to begin with. So I'm just going to go filter, rather offset. Oh, actually that is really good. Whoa. So here's the seam. I'm just going to make an X so it's easier to see. Here's the other seam. Tell it OK. So great time to grab the patch tool. It's pretty good. Let's get another chunk. There we go. Oh, that looks pretty good. So we got some kind of shaded areas. Again, this is a good one to work with because it's got these big black chunks of stuff in here. So if you end up with some dark things popping up, it'll be okay because it won't look too unusual, too strange. And that one. And still getting rid of the seam. That doesn't look super great. Undo that a couple times. This would be a good time to come in with the lasso tool, kind of grab a chunk here. Just Control C, Control V. Move it flat out over to the area that's not working super great. Come in with the spot healing brush. We could use the content aware move tool. That would work too, but we're going to come in with, wow, already it kind of disappeared on me for a second because I'm going on to sample all layers, which is up here. Now I can paint across everything and it will do it on this top layer here. Oh, that did terribly. You gotta be careful with this tool. Little clicks in this case might be better. Okay. That made a big, nasty rock chunk. Smaller brush should probably work a little better there. There we go. That looks pretty good. Again, I want to move forward and not backward with this stuff. So I'm going to Control Alt Shift E, duplicate that up. And I'm going to use the filter, other, offset again. You see, we're starting to get this band of dark gunk. That's not super great. Let's try the content aware move tool. Check that out. And it blends it right in. Isn't that cool? So we're going to use that real quick. That's pretty nice. I'm going to undo that actually a couple times because there's something else we could do here, which is to make a new layer and have sample all layers selected on the content aware move tool, which will let me, and if I zoomed in a lot, that would be better. I could get some rocks, move them over, drop them in, and it'll blend them in. Whoa, but did a crummy job there. That's fine. So what I'm going to do with that is just erase out that chunk. There we go. Like that better. Flatten that down one. Come in with the, let's do the spot healing brush. Again, make a new layer on top of it. Paint it in. There we go. Looks pretty good there. That's not going to fly over too well, so I'll click on that one. Click on that one. We're kind of in the cleanup phase. But keep in mind, if you do this too much, it will start just like making a blurred mess of stuff. But sometimes that can be fun. So just to let you know, like if we come in here with a brand new layer, it starts really doing this interesting little jumble stuff. And this is a way to almost smooth out the rocks as though they've been smashed down by a machine or something and kind of paved in. Do this long enough, you'll start getting this kind of smushy different texture, which is fun. But again, if you were doing this on the clock for someone who wanted a background texture, they may not totally appreciate you making like cool patterns and goops like this. So just to let you know, it's a possibility. You can kind of fade that down a bit, do some things but not others, whatever. But just a thing that you can do. All right, it's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and do another offset to take a quick look, see what's going on. Filter, other, offset. It's pretty good. This dark spot's going to show up as repetitive bits. Right in here, we'll be able to spot that all too well. So I'm going to come in one more time. I take the patch tool again, which is great for shapes like this. I'm going to go ahead and choose out the darker area here. Da-da-da. Now notice once again, I've created a new layer. Yeah, that'll be okay. Oh, if I have it set so that it will work on all layers, which I do not. Destination, no, that's right. Some versions of Photoshop doesn't allow the patch tool to be used across layers. That's fine. I'll just duplicate my layer so that I don't destroy the original in case I mess up. Whoops, but I want the source, not the destination. There we go. That looks pretty good. Once more with peeling. Okay, that should be better. There are still some, chunks, bits and pieces if you're really filling it. Just like with the lime, you can cut out a few little bits and pieces, paste them over to re-randomize it. An area like this, for example, could use some touch-ups. They look like they smushed together. This is kind of blurred. That would need to be fixed up. You want to do all of that for, this assignment so it looks super great, so you just come in, and I just spotted an area here. And Control-C, Control-V, V to move, E to get rid of it. I'd really use blending tool there, all that stuff. And you'd start just punching in new rocks just to cover the seams, because we've still got some seams. We want to take care of all of those, but you get the idea. I don't want to waste your time just going through all of this. So let's say that you fixed up all of the seams, you got rid of any of the spots that would stick out too much, you've corrected any weird blurring, you've done all that. That means that pattern's done. Again, this is a very long assignment. This is going to take some time to I grab a pattern. Okay, so next up, let me go ahead and demonstrate how to do the contact sheet. All right, catch you in the flip side.